We're going to dismember him, bleed him dry.
Really? Is that what you're going to do?
Your voice.
Who the hell are you, man?
The question provoked an irresistible urge. I am the vampire Lestat.
Do I like this movie because I think it's good? No. Do I like this movie because it carefully follows the book? No. Do I like this movie because the soundtrack fucking rocks and I am helpless to vampire romances or whatever? Yes. Speaking of the former, one thing I do not get to talk about enough here and would like to talk about more is a solid soundtrack. Hell, we can even talk about bad ones if it pleases everyone. The soundtrack absolutely carries this movie, and without it, it would be as toxic as a thin layer of water that's been sitting at the bottom of a garbage bin for an eternity. Hot, stinky, and full of tetanus. Funny enough, Queen of the Damned always comes up when people try to find a way to get me talking about vampire movies. It's obviously not exactly a masterpiece, but somehow it sticks in the brain and on most of my playlists from time to time.
We're going to dismember him, bleed him dry.
Really? Is that what you're going to do?
Where do I even start here? I mean, how about why did it take 7 years to get this ball rolling and why? Did you know that if you wait nearly 7 years, time will kindly blur your judgment just enough to make you think slapping two beloved very long books together and calling it a sequel is a perfectly reasonable idea? Well, if you didn't, now you do. I remember watching Anne Rice post on Facebook about all of her potential picks for Lestat. She went back and forth constantly when it came to on-screen versions of her most beloved creation. 1 minute cautiously approving, the next minute filming a video apology and publishing a 2-page statement in Variety. She never got to see Sam Reed. My money says she would have adored him, and she famously told everyone to ignore Queen of the Damned as a movie entirely. She did meet with the studio executives though, and I'm sure they gave her the usual, "This is what we have planned, doesn't it sound sexy and totally cool?" pitch, which is corny and somehow exactly obviously on point. She reluctantly agreed it would be made and even volunteered to write the script herself, and they said no. Yes, the woman who wrote the book and the screenplay for the one adaptation that actually worked was turned down in favor of 2 other writers, at least one of whom openly admitted, "Yeah, I can see why no one's done this before." Let's not pretend like Hollywood gives any actual fucks about original source material when it comes to the almighty dollar. Reading some of the quotes from the cast and crew is like reading an office birthday card you were forced to sign. My Lestat was probably a little more somewhere between Elvis and George Michael and Led Zeppelin. I guess I'm much more traditional rock and roller, but they took it to a much more 90s era grunge. And suddenly the vocals kick in and he starts doing it, and f*** me if he wasn't Mick Jagger, David Bowie, and Little Richard all rolled into one. He f***ing killed it. He had all the rock star moves down. It was actually very smart of him to surprise everybody. Hey, did we see the same movie? Are the moves in the room with us? It's not the movie I set out to make. I think it's fun on its own terms. I think it's entertaining. I think it's colorful. There are some original things about it. Most of the acting is good. No shit, but I completely agree. Most of the acting is good, Christ.
More.
Now, I haven't watched this movie since my 20s. However, I was not prepared for how corny it truly was. It just starts off terrible, feeling more like it was the first day that anyone has ever read a script or been on a set or spoken to one another. And I hate to do my boy Stuart Townsend like this, I really do. But the delivery and narration are very local community theater. The scene at the beginning where he goes to his old house and sees a very mixed bag of musicians practicing and they're just all very wooden.
Your voice.
Who the hell are you, man?
The question provoked an irresistible urge. I am the vampire Lestat.
And that's the disconnect. Movie isn't selling the rock god fantasy, the soundtrack is. And this is the biggest thing for me versus the movie itself. Now, let's rewind for a second. This is peak Ozfest. Nu metal is still riding a high, butt rock is creeping in, and what we now call elder emo is starting to form in the shadows. It's loud, it's aggressive, it's arena size with boom chakas. And Lestat, at least the one in the book, doesn't really belong here. Even though Lestat on screen doesn't fully belong here. The brat prince is supposed to saunter. He's sensual, theatrical, hypnotizing. He commands attention without needing the double bass. Instead, they shoved him into whatever was cool at the time. The pleather pants, the mic stand, the stage lights. It shouldn't work, but that friction is exactly what struck a chord. If Jonathan Davis's voice was not coming out of Lestat, it would be Dunsky. And there are hotter dude voices that could have made for a better singing voice, but Davis delivers his signature guttural howl and it works. Here's the kicker. He sings in the film, but not on the official soundtrack album. His record label wouldn't allow it. And yes, Davis was very much pissed off about this, especially since he wrote Lestat's songs and composed the score with his partner Richard Gibbs. He does, however, get a cameo as a ticket scalper outside the concert. And he got to keep Lestat's couch, which feels both poetic and wildly insufficient. This isn't a good movie with a soundtrack that elevates it. The soundtrack carried the movie. When you think of this movie, you likely think two things: Aaliyah and a badass soundtrack. Now, I'm not going to pretend her performance single-handedly saves the movie for me. It doesn't. The script is a mess, and even though she's positioned as the centerpiece, she can only do so much with what she's given. But she does cast a light. She was genuinely excited about the project and had even hoped to do a duet with Jonathan Davis. She was into the metal scene. That wasn't a marketing gimmick. It was real. Aaliyah was already cool, but this felt like a moment for her. Watching it now, knowing what happened not long after, it's impossible to separate the performance from the mythology that grew around her. She's hard to take your eyes off of. The golden skin, the stillness, the way the camera frames her like something untouchable. She becomes an anchor in the middle of the chaos. And even if the movie wobbles, she's part of the reason it still lingers. You know a movie that was good and had a most excellent soundtrack? The Crow. You've probably heard me say this before, but it's true. The Crow is known for being a terrific adaptation of its source material and a beautiful tribute to its lead actor. The movie doesn't need the soundtrack to carry it. Does it help though? Absolutely. Burned by the Cure fits the mood perfect for when Eric first becomes the Crow. Sitting at a vanity with a broken mirror, meaningfully putting on his makeup. Totally elevates the moment. Eric running and leaping across the rooftops to the cover of Dead Souls by 9 Inch Nails. Gives me goosebumps. You see where I'm going here. I don't have to convince you that The Crow is good. I don't have to lean on the soundtrack as its only redeeming quality. What did I say here so far? I don't know. That the soundtrack fucking slaps and it's the biggest reason why this movie still gets attention. Maybe you weren't in your late teens getting high on the soothing sounds of Jay Gordon, but you better believe I was, and I'm sure that several others of you were sucked into that new metal vampire seduction. If you weren't, it's okay for you to pass a note to me saying that you were. I won't tell anyone. But nostalgia and quality aren't the same thing. Suspension of disbelief because vampires? Well, guys, I saw Blood Rain in the theaters because I love vampires and there's very much a difference, thank you. You could throw in Frankenstein. It delivers on so many levels and you feel it. You don't have to enter into any kind of mind tricks to fully invest in the world that Guillermo builds. Can we enjoy both things? Yeah, we can, but that's not the point today. The point is that if it wasn't for the soundtrack, the movie would not be held in such high regard, or any regard. The centerpieces are music focused. Stuart Townsend has Jonathan Davis saving his ass. I can reliably sell you on Interview with a Vampire being a great movie. It doesn't need new metal as a crutch. Tom Cruise absolutely owns the role of Lestat. It's entertaining watching this massive good guy movie star playing a psychotic, self-indulgent vampire. Then you have Brad Pitt, who is arguably at the top of his game in 1995 playing opposite. You don't even have to add Kirsten Dunst at this point as a bonus, but I will. The direction, cinematography, and the fucking script hit all the marks. And sympathy for the devil playing at the end is just the icing on top. A lovely little liner note. It's not carrying the whole fucking movie. There's a reason this landed in awfully good, though that's also debatable. And again, when this came out, I saw it a lot. But my frontal lobe has developed a little more since then. Awfully good implies charming incompetence. This isn't charming incompetence, it's overconfidence. It's executives chasing cool, and honestly, for a while, hey, they were right. I was wearing rose-tinted bat-framed glasses. The soundtrack was doing heavy lifting, and I didn't mind. Loving something and recognizing its flaws aren't mutually exclusive. Sometimes they're in the same conversation, just years apart. Look, love what you love. I'll never argue with you on that. We get our joy where we can get it, and if Stuart Townsend getting seduced by Aaliyah in a steamy bath while Deftones is playing, then hot damn, I won't deny you that. We've all been there. But come on, guys. You know I'm right.
Join me or die.
for clicking on our video, everybody. If you like what you saw here, please make sure you like the video and subscribe and share with your friends who like this sort of content. JoBlo was created by movie fans for movie fans, and we appreciate your support.